Autotasks are exactly as they sound. They are the ability to automate tasks. Autotasks can be invoked from different line of business apps on the Hornbill platform and from the various entity views. Autotasks can be single actions or a series of actions, both defined in autotask processes. These processes can then be invoked via custom buttons at any time from the relevant entity views. Think custom buttons on requests or assets in Service Manager or documents in Document Manager. Autotasks use the same familiar code-free drag and drop environment as other processes in Hornbill. So if you're familiar using business processes or lifecycle processes, then this will be very familiar to you. There are some key differences, however. Autotasks are designed to execute, run, and end. So with that in mind, in the designer, there are no real concepts of stages to processes or checkpoints or the ability to invoke human tasks, approvals, or use any of the suspend type actions that you might have used in the other types of processes. You can, of course, though, utilize, and we'll just drag out an example here, your Hornbill automations, all of your actions available against your applications, or cloud automations through the iBridge, or IT automations through ITOM and the runbook processes, make decisions, etc., etc. You're also able to utilize input parameters. So if you took the example that you wanted to raise a ticket automatically on a supplier's ITSM solution from a custom button, then you might do things like get request information to pull through customer details or site details, and then when you're making a cloud automation call, you'll pass in those variables into that cloud call. And then the reverse of that be, obviously you'd get the ID back from the supplier's ITSM solution, and you might want to put that ID into the external reference field of the request that you're working on, or you might want to email that on, send an SMS, notify the connections. All of those options are completely possible using the process designer on here. Okay, and again, once these are defined, you'll be able to invoke them from the various custom buttons. So let's take a little look here. So in Service Manager under Auto Tasks, we've got two auto task processes defined, and again, coming back into this one, we can see a number of actions such as adding in the service desk manager, adding in connections, might be the senior management team, posting to a major incident workspace, emailing the interested parties, and maybe locking the priority option. These are the things that we want to happen when we invoke this auto task from a ticket. So let's come up and let's have a look at a request view. And I've got the appropriate rights to be able to manage custom buttons, and we can see here that we've got some existing custom buttons already defined. But if I go into the designer and I go to add new, I can give this button a label, but I'm just going to use an icon on this occasion. So let's just go with a warning icon. We'll pick that, and we're going to make that color red. And we'll give it a tooltip, so we hover over it, and let's call it invoke MI comms, something like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some conditions in which this custom button will appear. So let's add a few parameters to this. So let's go request type has to equal incident. On here, we'll add a second condition where the service name equals desktop support, and finally we'll add a third condition which will be around priority, and we'll say here we don't need this, or we won't want this on this occasion if the request is already of major type. So all we're really saying here is only show this custom button if it is on an instant view against the desktop support service and where the priority is not major. Then I can come along here against my conditions, choose auto task, and select the auto task that I want to invoke. So I'm going to choose raise major incident, and I'm also then going to choose to display a pop-up which will show the progress of that process when that custom button is selected, and also write to the timeline of the request to confirm that that action has been performed. So we'll go ahead and add that one in. We can now see that appears in the background, but we'll just add a second one here, and we'll just again not use a label for this. We'll just use an icon, and Let's just pick an option on here. And we'll go with a down arrow. I think that's nice and clear. We'll pick a solid one like that, and we'll make that amber. And tooltip here, we'll put here de-escalate the MI, and we'll add the conditions on which this will be visible. So this one we might keep nice and simple. So we're only going to show this if the priority is major. So this custom button will only appear on tickets where the priority is already set to major. And again, we'll choose the auto task that we want to invoke on that occasion, and we'll tick both options here to show the progress in a pop-up and also written to the timeline. So we'll just go ahead and save those in. So we can see here that we've actually defined 5, but 4 are only visible because the conditions we've set will only show the ones that are relevant. We can see here the tooltip if we hover over that, and we can see at the moment that this particular request is set to open, therefore that option is available to me. Now if I go ahead and click on that custom button, the auto task is invoked. It's going through and automating the actions that we defined in the process, and it's going to let me know whether that was successful or otherwise. So let's just whiz around and see what's happened. So the priority is now set to major. We can see in our connections that our IT director has been added in as an interested connection. If we have a look at our members, we can see here now that Daniel's been added in as the person that's operationally responsible for this major incident, and we can see that an email has been sent off to Greg as that interested party using the template on here. So that's all good for us in here, and various other actions have taken place, and the fact that that auto task was invoked and used and successful we can see as a timeline entry. What we can also see though at the top now here is that the ability to invoke that major incident comms plan has gone and been replaced with an option to de-escalate the MI because the conditions have changed, i.e. it's now of a major priority rather than not being major. So if, for example, we identified partway through this that this was no longer a major incident and we wanted to stand it down and notify people, then we can do that. So I'm just going to click on the de-escalate major incident. And again, we've got the pop-up, which is sort of showing us the progress and it's going through and that it's been successful. We can see that the priority has been changed now to high from major. We can see that that has changed the SLA timer as a result of the priority changing. Another email has been sent off to Greg, and this time it's using a template saying that the major incident's been stood down. And if we come up to our news feed, we can see that both of those also posted initially that that major incident had been raised, and also automated now that this major incident has been de-escalated. So I hope that all makes sense, and please do enjoy using the auto tasks.